Right, good morning, everybody. I hope you had a good weekend. I'm going to show you how to add scripts to a game object. You're going to notice that there's a lot of similarities between adding components and scripts to most things. So, a lot of times, adding a script looks pretty much exactly like adding a rigid body or adding a material, which we've done a couple of times. So the first thing, and it all of these kind of are based on the same sort of idea. So you're going to have a few different components that you add, but the first one we're going to do is we're going to add the movement script. So I'm going to kind of guide you through that process. You're also going to make a rotating object, and you'll see that for two. And then for three, it's going to be using the collectibles. So for the movement script, you can see in my scene I have like a character here, and I'm going to go ahead and just delete it because it'll be a little bit easier this way. And I'm also going to delete this script right here just so you can see again that process. Okay, so the first thing, and it's going to take a second to do this just so I can kind of guide you from the beginning, but it's going to say add the movement script. I'm going to go ahead and click on the tutorial and just kind of click through it. So, like I said, it's going to be this scene right here. And I think I clicked the wrong one. So I'm just going to go back to this. And I did click the wrong one. It's this one here. And it's add the movement script. Okay, so I'll try it again. All right, so this is the scene. This is where we added some music and some different things to the scene. And I'm going to be just in my essentials folder right here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go into prefabs. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and you're going to look for characters. And I'm going to pick this kind of we'll just do this dump truck here. And just to make it a little bit easier to see, I'm going to scale it up a little bit like this. And again, I'll move it above the floor. And you'll notice that it has a rigid body and it has a box collider. So if I look around the scene a little bit, you can see the object right here. Okay, and everything looks good. You'll also see that it has a few like basic shapes added to it. But overall, it's got this nested parent game object that's right here. That's again a prefab. Now, the next step is to make the script. Now, they're going to give you, if you go back, and I'm using the breadcrumbs right here, you're going to see this folder called scripts. And they give you a couple of scripts. But for now, I'm just going to go in. And what you're going to do is you're going to right click, you're going to hit create, and you're going to pick create a mono behavior script. Okay. And it's going to make this. Now, it's going to tell you you need to make it and call it player controller, just like this. This is a common scripting practice when you build games. It's called Pascal case and camel case. So camel case means it's kind of like variable names, which we've mentioned before. Like if you have something called like turn speed, the T will be capitalized, but the S or the T will not be capitalized, but the S will. In this case, we have the P capitalized and the C capitalized, which is called Pascal case. And as a programmer, that lets you know that this is either the name of a script or the name of something that's called a method. Okay. Now, the next part of this is going to be going onto this character here. So I can just take this and I can do this a couple of ways. I prefer to click on the object and then just drag it over like this. Okay. Now, the next thing is it's going to give you the script, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit copy right here. I'm going to double click on the script. In my case, I am using Visual Studio, but when you're just starting out, it'll probably be Notepad, and that's okay. So the first thing I do is I'm going to delete everything that's in the script, and then I'm going to paste what I just included, and I'm going to hit Control S. All right. And this is going to save the script. All right. So you'll notice again that everything is here. I don't have to do anything, but I need to make sure that things like the brackets and all of that are kind of set up. And then I'm going to see this kind of run, and there shouldn't be any errors as this is the script that they've given us. And now, after I've done that, I can just leave the camera where it is, and if I hit play, you'll see that the script works. I can move the character around. Now, it's not perfect, but you can see like I can run into stuff. Now again, this I don't know that this would be like a AAA game, but the script works. Another thing that they talk about, and you'll see this in a lot of games, is making the camera what's called a child object of this. So if I drag it onto the dump truck, what's going to happen now is when I move, the camera is going to follow my character. So you can see there it is. And if I move around, there we go. All right. Now, again, it's a little unusual movement, but it does work. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get the camera to move. Okay. So that is the first step. I'm going to make sure that I hit save. And that's what you're going to be turning in for this. Just getting the character, getting the camera to move the character to run into the objects. Okay, so I hope that this helps. If you have any questions as you're working on it, just let me know. And I'm happy to help you. But the hardest part is making sure that you create the script and copy and paste. And that takes a little bit of practice. But again, just like adding the material, I can just click and drag it onto the object. I can change the speed, the rotation, and I can just type those values in here. And then if you want to, this is called making the child object of the camera or of the the dump truck in my case, but it could be any of these objects. You can just click and drag it, and then it makes it a part of this element right here. All right, so have a good rest of your day.